Jesmon is another interesting deck to take to Nationals, simply because it has a lot of explosive power. And while yes, many individuals would argue that this deck bricks, optimizing your build for the best hands can put the games in your favor, especially against Blackwargreymon X. But while this deck does amazing against Blackwargreymon X, I'll also be covering the card by card, the strengths, the weaknesses, your matchups, and the combos. As always, if you enjoy these types of videos, do consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting that notification bell for more future content. This deck runs 4 level 2s, 15 level 3s, 14 level 4s, 7 level 5s, 7 level 6s, 3 level 7s, 4 option cards, and 0 tamers. The good old days of Jesmon running Memory Fixer Tai Kamiya and Starter Deck Greymon are long gone. Instead, the deck has no tamers, bringing no value for your opponent's Hades Force or Blackwargreymon Digimon. And starting with this discussion, it's time to talk about babies. No, not the birds and bees kind of discussion, but rather changing over from previous formats of using Gurumon for draw power. You could utilize Gurumon to draw cards considering all of your Bauhuckmons are 6000 DP. But the secret in this deck is looking at memory efficient cards, and Sukudomon aids in that. Sukudomon when attacking once per turn gains you a memory if the Digimon is level 7, meaning this card is only optimal when used with Jesmon GX. Level 3 wise, I play 4 BT6 Huckmon, 4 Solarmon, 3 Starter Deck Huckmon, 2 Sistermon Blanc from BT6, and 2 Sistermon Blanc from the Starter Deck. Without a doubt, you need to run BT6 Huckmon for that potential out of a Sistermon, Digimon with Huckmon, or Digimon with Jesmon in its name. The big question that you might be asking is, why no BT7 Huckmon? Number 1, the effect is mandatory. Number 2, there's enough searching that you'll either trash the Sistermons to play with one of your other Digimon's effects. I ain't worried. And while I did mention Gaussmon for the Blackwargreymon matchup, the matchup is honestly not too hard as long as you know when to push out of rays. Solarmon is the real MVP that you'll definitely want to run 4 of in order to stop Death Xmon from coming down, while it is secondary to stop Blue Flare from performing. The last red level 3 is the Starter Deck Huckmon, who gives you a nice plus 1000 DP buff to beat over your opponent's Digimon, but this effect is also all turns. For Sistermons, you run 2 for drawing and blocking, and 2 for pitching and drawing 2. Honestly, tailor the Sistermons to your specific style, but I highly recommend keeping all the level 3s as is. For level 4s, Bauhuckmons are your primary champion to play. 4 from BT6 for popping your opponent's Digimon with 5000 DP or less, if you have a Sistermon in play, and 1 that gives you plus 1000 DP on all turns if your Digimon has Huckmon or Royal Knight in its traits. A very valuable level 4 for some of your more difficult matchups. Sistermon Seal-wise, I run an even 2 across the board for BT10 for on-play to Digivolve into a Digimon with Royal Knight, and gaining a memory when I Digivolve into a Huckmon Digimon or Royal Knight. BT6 for that all turns DP buff and memory gain on play, and the Searcher and Reboot option with the Starter Deck. Substitution wise, you may find one more valuable than the other, with my personal preference being BT6 for that additional memory gain. Level 5 wise, this deck runs the standard 1 copy of BT6 Savior Huckmon, 4 Starter Deck Savior Huckmon, and 2 Chimeramon. Chimeramon can do a lot of funny plays, especially if your opponent leaves one of your level 4 Sistermon alone and you promote out a Bauhuckmon. Likewise, if you can maintain memory on your turn and have 2 level 4 Sistermon Seals out, that's another Chimeramon play that could be game ending. But honestly, there's no other substitutes I recommend in this specific lineup. But the limited Savior Huckmon is powerful in that you can unsuspend if you have a Sistermon in play, which Savior himself can set up. The convenience of the other Savior Huckmon is when Digivolving you can attack your opponent's unsuspended stuff, i.e. Pomomons if they're stopping you from going off, or even Pillowmons. Level 6 wise, this deck runs 7 level 6s, 3 Genkumon X for not only its effect to play a Sistermon, buff and prevent bounce, but it's useful for slotting underneath Jesmon GX. Jesmon X is very nice in that it doesn't require even the X-antibody, but a Jesmon underneath or Sistermon on the battlefield, which its own when Digivolving effect does. Oh, and did I mention that you get plus 2000 DP and can attack your opponent's unsuspended stuff? Level 7s, this deck runs only Jesmon GX, the domino effect boss monster that lets you slot a Royal Knight Digimon from your trash or hand when Digivolving, and then activate that Digimon's when Digivolving effect. Slot Genkumon X, Play a Sistermon from hand or trash, then buff everything with 2000 DP, and effects can't DP reduce or bounce them to hand or deck. Slot Jesmon X? All your Digimon get plus 2000 DP and you can attack unsuspended Digimon. But wait, there's more! First off, Blitz. And second, while a card with Royal Knight in its traits is in this Digimon's Digivolution sources, you gain Piercing, Blocker, and Security Attack +1 for each one. Meaning in the most perfect world, you'd be swinging for 3 checks over a body. This deck doesn't run Tamers mainly because there's no room, and there's better options. But option cards definitely take the role of a weird Maki Himakawa. I say that only because the 4 option cards are from Master to Disciple. This option card has the same main effect whether it's played or hit in security, but its delay reduces the Digivolution cost by 1 next time your Digimon would Digivolve this turn. Savior becomes 2. Heck, even a Chimeramon becomes 3. Strength-wise, this deck packs a punch when all conditions are met. Security +2 for a grand total of 3 checks if you have 2 Royal Knights under GX. Reboot that bad boy if Sistermon Seal is out. But its weakness above all is always going to be bricking and consistency. Jesmon offers some tools for consistency to find your pieces a lot faster. And while sometimes you might find all your pieces, other times you'll just be 1 turn too late. Matchup wise, this deck was playtested against Grandis Kuwagamon, Melga X, Blackwargreymon X, and Mastamon. Decks that utilize security heavy effects can be detrimental, but it's even then ripping 3 security with a potential unsuspend that can annihilate your opponent. As for Blackwargreymon X, I never felt like Jesmon could fail against Blackwargreymon X, as you could attack into your opponent's Digimon at almost every possible scenario with enough buffs. This matchup was typically 70-30 after testing, but Melga and Grandis are the decks that take advantage of your bricking and eliminate all your security in one go. These matchups in particular feel like a 40-60 matchup. Combo-wise, you have 3 powerful cards to start searching, but do keep in mind Huckmon cannot add cards like Gankumon X, while Sistermon Seal can be more expensive. The MVP searcher of this deck is from Master to Disciple, because this card can literally look at the top 3 and add 1 Sistermon, Huckmon, or Royal Knight Digimon. But don't fret, Sistermon Blanc is also pretty decent if your hand is garbage. Ideally, you want to go into a Huckmon from the starter deck. This all turns plus 1000 DP can be huge sometimes. Likewise, your Bauhuck doesn't matter. Just pick one. Savior Huck is dependent on your matchup, but more than likely you'll need Lady Luck to go into OG Savior. New Savior can at least beat over your opponent's stuff when digivolving that same turn. But when you go into your level 6, this is where a lot of effects can trigger. Jesmon X or Ganku X, play a Sistermon. Trigger the Sistermon effect. If you played the BT10 one, it's another climb into Jesmon GX, slotting hopefully another one that you didn't digivolve into, playing another Sistermon, blitzing, and going for 3 checks. And whatever shenanigans you want to play. Blanc, all your Sistermon are blockers. Seal, Jesmon GX gets reboot. Alternative Blanc, decoy. And I get it. Jesmon isn't perfect, but in my test games against Blackwargreymon X, it didn't feel like Blackwargreymon X could contend. Which really changes my opinion that Nationals could be anyone's game. This is Digi-Panda, logging out.